What's up, guys? It's Gorgarden here, and today we'll be talking about a Mayans MC character that predicted the end of the show. Spoilers ahead, of course, but we will be talking about Manny today, and a truth Manny told. So if we go back to Season 4, Episode 2, Manny and Easy are having a discussion, and you can tell Easy's pretty pissed off in the beginning, and doesn't want to listen, but Manny's really trying to get to him, and they're having the topic of the issue at hand of they're just recovering from the Season 3 Civil War and Season 4 Episode 1, that kind of battle with Conche at the Charter Clubhouse, Santo Padre. And Manny asks Easy, do you know who killed the Aztecs? And Easy's first response is Cortez, and Manny says they always said you were this smart. But he replies with, you're wrong, it was the other indigenous tribes. They were so filled with hate for the Aztecs that they sided with the Spanish, not realizing that they were next on the chopping block, and that if they're not prepared for their Cortez, it's going to all come crashing down if they don't stop hating each other. The first instance of this would be the fight between Conche's charter, I think is Yuma, and Santo Padre, and Diaz's charter, and a few others with the Civil War, the hotel fight scene and stuff, because of the, pipeline issues. They don't realize that Sons of Anarchy or Sam Crow is going to be going after them for the death of Montez, who is killed by Paulo and from VM as a act of going against the Mayans for all the hatred towards Taza and the history, and starting to cause a rift, and he places him at the Santo Padre clubhouse, causing Taza to put him in a barrel. And then Jess, I believe is her name, she is the sister of Boston Terry's old lady, and she discovers his cut and body. And so Sons decide to go after them after a green light is given from Chibs. Which, they spent the good part of Season 3 having a civil war, and the first episode of Season 4 having a war. And because Bishop held his tongue about what Taza did, of course, I don't think Taza told him that he found Montez's body and hid it, but for sure he admitted to killing Riz, which is another instance of blind hatred, or not in hatred, just in general, causing a Mayans MC club member to die. Riz was killed by Taza to start a war with the VM and finish it because he was gay and didn't want to be outed by Paulo, and Paulo killed his own brother because his brother was in love with Taza. And because he knew that Paulo was going to be an issue, he was willing to go as far as to kill Riz and start the war, because if Riz had lived, they weren't going to go to war with VM, because they didn't want to demolish the gun trade deal that they were getting with Sons and VM. And so that started a loop, and that caused a civil war because the gun trade was dropped, the gun deal, and the pipeline was messed up after border shutdowns and stuff, and just the border patrol being on them and DEA and stuff. So that's the first part of it. Going on to the second part, because Conche had a beef with Easy, he attacked the charter Santa Padre before Alvarez stepped in, because Easy blew up a garage with Conche and his son in it. And so because he held on to that beef, he had kept an eye on him and threatened him, saying, I'm going to catch you slipping. Well, Easy at this point is kind of turning into a different person, and Easy kills him with his guard down while they're attacking SOA charter or club on SOA turf. that starts another beef, and so kind of I wouldn't call it a civil war, but like a inner breaking between the charters when Dondo, Manny, and two other club members meet up at on SOA turf or close to SOA turf, not sure, and they are ambushed. Dondo being killed on sight, shot in the back through Hoosier. Manny being set aflame or burned alive by Isaac Packer. So that's the second instance, and of course, unfortunately, Manny being the death of a byproduct of their distraction of him being called up there to talk over the Reyes brothers killing Conche, as well as the death of Coco. Coco was shot in the back when they were having the celebration for Fallen Brothers and SOA. I don't know if Boston Terry was there personally. I can't remember. I just know he's a part of it, but I don't know if he took any shots. Kills Coco and several other charter members for payback for, I believe, attack on Packer. No, not Packer. That was after Packer. Packer, Leslie Packer is in the hospital, but Boston Terry is attacked at the hospital after. But for Montez and stuff, and then it starts a whole retaliation from the Mayans. So that's another death that was caused by the two clubs fighting it out and trying to make them, or the two charters fighting it out, or several charters, and trying to make amends. So they had their guard down and weren't ready for Sons then. Also, just the fighting between them in season 4 that's kind of left over, and 5, being blindsided by that. They weren't prepared for Isaac's return, and they lost a couple parts of their charters for that. Of course, Guerrero kills Diaz because he killed his father, and that causes another rift because Alvarez finds out, and the Sons find out and tell Alvarez, but of course, if the Sons from Quinn's charter know, then eventually the Mayans will find out. But I think that'll bring us to our biggest talking point of why Manny predicted the end of the show. And, of course, again, spoilers ahead. But it all comes down to the death of Santo Padre after taking out the Sons. So to backtrack some, season 3, or season 4, Creeper, one of my favorite characters, meets a girl named Coda/Katie, who's undercover. And because of that, she wants him to turn himself in and confess to crimes, but also give up the club to save himself. Well, he turns that down and only turns himself in, so he goes to prison. It doesn't say whether or not why he tells the club he went to prison. He just in season 5 he's in prison, so we never know if he admits that I got caught, or I just I took one for the club. And because of this, Easy eventually gets founded out as being a rat for Potter and them for the first season or 2, and he has sadly Creeper killed, but not because Katie told him. I believe he wasn't on there long enough. I'll correct myself. His cousin found out about him disappearing, and they came up with the idea that Easy was a rat because he was doing 25 to life and got out and joined a club. So once he goes missing, his cousin checks up, and they eventually kind of figure it out. I know Katie eventually knows, of course, because she deep digs and finds, their cousin, his wife, Widow, who has some old stuff of his of casework, and she figures out Easy's the rat. Which she told him somebody was a rat when she was like, you need to turn yourself in, and they weren't sure who then. But they weren't prepared for Katie to come back and pretty much get them, again, spoilers, all killed, because Creeper is killed because he is going to rat on Easy. And at his funeral, Katie shows up and she holds a grudge against Easy, which listen, aside, I'd like to say that I think Katie is part of the reason that Creeper was murdered in prison, and that's me personally. She got him to turn himself in, and he fell on the sword with the club, and it's depressing that he died because he was so loyal, and he was a great character. So I think she had a hand in it, because he wouldn't have been inside to where he would have gotten attacked by somebody else and then murdered by Easy for almost ratting him out. Well, given that we don't know that Creeper told anybody, hey, like, you should know I'm in here because somebody tricked me, or Katie tricked me, and so it's just left unsaid. So towards the end, at the final episode of the final season, I believe, Katie approaches Bishop and tells him, I have a message from Creeper, which we don't hear her say it. It cuts off. And she pretty much tells him that, Easy's a rat. And, so in her avenging ways, tells him that, only for it to come down to her working with Potter to bring them down. Now, I will say, of course, again, another situation of hate and whatever else they're feeling, Bishop wanted his seat back, He was trying to get them to pretty much overthrow Easy at one point. He didn't say, hey, vote him out. He was just like, he's going to get the rest of you killed, which is ironic in a way, in a second. But Bishop wanted his seat back, and of course, he's going to want to avenge Creeper and stuff. But they kill Easy and his girlfriend, which was a depressing part and was hypocritical, in my opinion. I don't know if somebody told Goggles to kill her or if he did it on his own accord. But Bishop kills Easy along with the rest of the club, and then as they're kind of having that moment of like, hey, we got to get back to business, it's got to go back to normal now, Katie and Potter and ATF show up and off-screen kill all of them. So once again, Manny was right, because I don't think there was any question of like, how does Katie know that he's a rat? And it's like, how come I don't know if any of them saw a Creeper in prison except for Easy and maybe Hank. It's a thing of, hey, it's kind of odd that Katie shows up, or Coda shows up, and Creeper immediately goes to jail, which also we don't know how much time he's in jail before he gets stabbed the first time. But nobody brings up that discussion, and they just blindly go into it. And because they're recovering of the aftermath of killing their president, Easy, someone they watch grow as a member and a person in the criminal world, they are not prepared for the ATF. They don't think about it, I don't know how much Bishop told them. And Katie comes in with, or Coda, whichever, I forget which one's the fake name and the real name. And she comes in with ATF, and they kill them all. Now, of course, I believe Downer's girlfriend / friend that he tries to save by giving her a train ticket or a plane ticket out of there because she heard about Jess or something from him, kills him, which was sad to see Downer go. And she has a regret moment where I think she gets caught and confesses and then says, hey, I want to make a deal. So another instance of they were just, blinded by the fact that they wanted to kill Easy. They did not realize, like, hey, we're down a member. Where is he? Uh, Gilly and one other person tell him, you need to go talk to her, and straighten this out. Do what you got to do. And none of them think to go, oh, well, we just told him to go talk to this girl that may know something about our business, and that's another downfall. But yeah, in general, Manny just kind of called their downfall because they were so distracted within themselves to fight each other for whatever reasons they had, valid or not. They were not prepared for the ATF, and that may be the ultimate downfall of the Santa Padre charter and maybe the rest of the club. Who knows? They may be going after all the charters now. We may never know because they, ended so abruptly. But I do believe Manny had some insight to what was going to happen to Santo Padre and many other charters and members of the Mayans MC club. So yeah, do you agree? Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think they could have avoided the downfall that they had, or do you think they were just that was set in motion to happen? So yeah. Hey guys, just a little quick fix up for a couple things. I thought it'd be easier just to add this in towards the end of the video instead of going back and trying to redo all that since I did this in a rush. Goggles is not goggles, it's bottles. And it's JJ. JJ is the one in prison that gets out, that confronts Easy, and is killed by Easy. And that's what makes his cousin, I believe. Yeah, it's his cousin. So have some questions of, like, where the hell did he go? What the hell happened to him? He was writing me. He stopped writing me. When I say rat on Easy, I don't mean rat to the feds, of course. I mean rat on him to the club, or tell on him to the club. So yeah, there's just a couple things I want to specify. I was like, bottles. I said goggles. It's bottles. And yeah, Creeper was gonna tell Hank about Easy being a rat, and Easy killed him for it. And JJ is the one that knew Easy, that Easy kills to protect himself, just like he did Creeper to keep it going. And his cousin is the one in prison that talks to Creeper, and lets him know that it's like, hey, it may be your boy because he was last known to be checked up on by JJ, and now JJ is missing. So yeah, thanks. I just want to specify. So yeah, thanks for watching.